Manifestation is a scam. That's the hill I'm on. That's where you'll find my headstone. The first time someone recommended the book The Secret to me with all that talk about the law of attraction, I was skeptical. After a few chapters in, I was convinced this is some manifestation bullshit. There isn't a person alive today who isn't out there somewhere dreaming of the possibilities. No one is sitting in an apartment eating ramen noodles for breakfast just because they don't know how to blow out their candles on a cake. But the idea of positive thinking your way into the kind of life you want has always struck me as peak snake oilery. And yet, something happened to me a few years after I started my business that made me question everything I believed about manifestation. Is it real? Is it fake? And what happened that made me rethink everything about manifestation? Well, let's get into it. Success only comes through hard work. Not only did I drink the Kool-Aid, I mixed it myself. Easy meant lazy. Struggle meant success. That's what I was conditioned to believe by my parents, school, society, everything around me. I was raised to value hard work above everything else. The kind that makes your back ache and your eyes burn. The kind that says, you've earned this. If it doesn't feel hard, I don't trust it. That's how deep this deception runs.
If you told the 10-year-old me,
no shortcuts, no luck, no handouts, no hand-ups, just grit and grind and hard work until you make it through. And then I started to wonder, am I focusing too much on achieving this the hard way that I'm missing another way altogether? When I launched my video production business 16 years ago, I was eager, hungry, and ready to drink the midnight oil if necessary just to make it work.
Gentlemen, I'm going to start recording, so if I could have some silence.
I had worked 20 plus years as a television journalist in a variety of roles, so I had what it takes to succeed. I knew the industry, I knew how to deliver, so I figured the harder I worked, the faster success would come.
Should you be writing scripts for your video marketing content? Well, if you want results for your business, the answer to that question is yes.
I threw my whole self into every project, crafting video ideas, writing scripts, filming, editing. I was willing to push myself to the very edge of reason. But even with all of that, I kind of sensed that something was off. No matter how hard I worked or how many hours I put in, the sweat I invested, I just wasn't getting any closer to the vision I had of success in my mind. After years of grinding non-stop in my business, I hit a wall. I had wide swings from boom to bust. 1 minute my phone would be ringing off the hook. Clients would be all over me like sand at the beach. And the next minute, no one would take my calls. For one period, I'd have very exciting, rewarding projects that would span several months, and then as soon as those were completed, a complete dry spell. The money was flowing, there was enough to go around, and then the next minute, I was flat broke. I really started to question, am I crazy about this entrepreneurship thing?
Call me morbid, call me pale. I've spent 6 years on your trail. 6 long years on your trail.
If I was grinding and still struggling, was there more to success than just the hard work? Could the missing piece of the puzzle be my focus? Was my mental reality influencing my physical reality? I'm a hardcore skeptic, but I'm not close-minded. I will always investigate or dig into something that I think can help me. So while I might not be an affirmations and chanting and rocking back and forth kind of person, I decided, you know what, I will give this manifestations thing a try, but on my own terms, in a way that made sense to me. And that's when I noticed a shift in the way things were playing out. Believe in yourself. Trust the universe, stick to the journaling and wait for the magic to unfold. When I hear that kind of manifestation advice, it kind of makes me cringe. Now, what no one tells you is that there are many different ways to do manifestation. And for me, manifestation has to be grounded, practical, and subtle. So I didn't start visualizing checks in the mail or a new car in the garage. Instead, I started tuning into all the positives of my video production company. The freedom, the escape from rush hour traffic into toxic office politics. The fact that I get to wake up and create for a living, tell stories, be creative. I got to spend a lot of time outdoors in nature. As careers go, that's hard to beat. I started tuning into that energy instead of the belief that I need to grind to get results. What I realized is that I get the intent behind the idea of manifestation, not the mantras and all that kind of thing. That's not my style. But the idea that my mindset and my energy inform my outcomes, that makes sense to me. I could work with that. We're all wired differently, so manifestation doesn't have to look one way. For me, it was about focusing on what was already good. Me being lucky enough to earn a living with my creativity and craft, and letting that influence how I think about my business. Can you manifest without actually doing something? Lots of people believe that you can, and that may work for them, but I don't believe that. Now, belief is incredibly important, but more important than believing is doing. Manifestation, or at least the way I practice it, well, it opened up my mind to new strategies and new opportunities. It helped me think differently about the way I did things. I was more curious, more creative, more solutions-oriented. Manifestation hyper-focused my brain on the possible. I stopped obsessing over what wasn't working and started paying attention to what could. Suddenly, the how didn't feel quite so impossible. But none of that meant anything if I didn't do something with it, if I didn't take action. So unlike before, when I started putting in the work, I was doing it with better instincts and more intention. Manifestation gave me the map, but I still had to put one foot in front of the other. I still had to knock on the doors, follow up on the leads, get up every morning and make some kind of progress. For me, manifestation doesn't replace action. It doesn't even come before it. They're occupying the same space. They're complementing each other. And when I started to get them to work together, that is when I noticed I was picking up speed. I can't believe I'm actually going to be telling you this, but I manifested money. Yeah, and I did it without affirmations or visualizations. You see, for the vast majority of the life of my business as a video production company, about 99% of the income I generated, the majority of the most lucrative opportunities that I was able to stimulate, well, all of those came without my even looking for them. So I didn't burn any sage, I didn't do visualizations like I said, no human sacrifice, nothing like that. So what is it that I was doing that manifested this money? Well, I wasn't even aware that I was doing it. There are times when I really enjoy what I do. I get so caught up in the ideas, the creative process, the storytelling that everything else just becomes background noise. The uncertainty, the worries, even the bills. It was during those times that I started to get calls from people asking about my video production services. It didn't happen that way all the time, but it happened that way enough that I started to notice. It's totally crazy how some of the biggest opportunities I ever got came without my writing a single proposal, making a single sales pitch, or attending even one meeting. It made me realize manifestation for me is being connected to what lights me up and gets me excited. Being immersed in creating, being in alignment with the work I've been blessed with the talent to do. So do I still believe that manifestation is BS? Well, no, I don't. But does that make me a convert? Well, no, it doesn't. I still don't believe in manifestation the way it's practiced and sold by lots of other people. But I do believe in what lies behind manifestation to drive change and success. And when I embraced that interpretation of manifestation, well, that's when success became much less of a struggle for me. Now, how about you? How do you feel about manifestation? Have you applied it in your life? Do you think it's woo-woo nonsense, or have you actually seen it produce results for you? Let's talk about it in the comments below.